The most important work of your life is the work you do within your soul. This is Home Improvement for the Soul.
Hi, thank you for joining us. And once again, we are going to be with Tal Mendelbaum Ben Moshe for our final episode with this brilliant woman. And I'm just reminding you that the sound quality is not quite what it is in the studio, because in order to talk to Israel from New York, you have to do it on Zoom at a certain time of day. So thank you so much for joining us again. Hello, I'm Maddie Cheers, and welcome to Home Improvement for the Soul. And we are back for our last visit with Tal Mendelbaum Ben Moshe, who is going to share with us some of what it means to turn darkness into light, building on where we left off in our last podcast, and how when we're turning darkness into light, does it really help us grow? So, Tal.
Yeah, I love the name of your podcast, Home Improvement for the Soul. And I think maybe we can talk a little bit about the soul, because that has a lot to do with transmuting darkness to light and growing. What is the soul? And I think we need to start from understanding that, to begin with, the way that we were created, we are created in something called the ego or ego consciousness. This is our identification with ourself, and it's why we feel separate, why we feel sometimes small in a big universe. We grow up, feeling that we are, this body, and then we undergo all the things we undergo, all these experiences, some of them more pleasant, a lot of them not so pleasant, and we accumulate, right, like a history of experiences, until there comes some point in every person's life, whether it's in this incarnation or a different incarnation, when we begin to ask higher questions of meaning, higher questions of purpose. And that's where we can begin to connect to our soul. And to connect to our soul, according to the wisdom of Kabbalah, it's very different, I think, from what most people think of as the soul. We think the soul, is something that is like part of this entity called like me, but it's really, in Kabbalah, the soul is our higher consciousness. It's our higher consciousness. It's where we're connected to everything else, to all of life, to nature, and really our individual souls are part of a bigger soul, which is our collective consciousness. So that's where everything is going. Everything that's happening to us, all the little, points of suffering, all the things that we accumulate in all of our incarnations, all the darkness that we experience, it's all happening so that we would one day be able to consciously connect to that higher consciousness, which is our soul.
Right.
And we need to learn how to do that and bring that into our day-to-day life, to begin to connect to that soul. And that's how we begin to transmute. So maybe you can ask me the questions, and then maybe I'll be able to make that like more simple.
Well, I would say that I know for me that my big question of connecting to higher consciousness or connecting to the soul would be, does it have to be through meditation? Does it have to be through a specific ritualization? I think that when I started out down this path, and I think a lot of people have the same impression, is that if we don't do A, B, and C, we'll never connect with our soul. So in Kabbalah, are there certain recommendations? Are there certain things, certain prayers? What would you say?
Okay. So first, it's not something that you have to do with your body, or it's really not something very physical. It's more about, like I was trying to say before, a kind of transformation, inner transformation. So what we have to understand is that there is nature all around us. In one of the podcast episodes, we said that God and spirit and nature is really the same thing. It's this higher consciousness all around us. It's constantly all around you. And you can't feel it and you can't experience it because you're opposite from it in nature, in quality. So like I was saying, our default nature is ego, which is a quality of reception. It wants to receive, it wants for itself. Like when in our ego, we're constantly thinking, what do I want? What do I need? How can I succeed? How can I be happier? It's all about me. And our culture makes us feel like that is really all important, right? It's the narcissistic age. And we have to understand that if we want to connect to the light, if we want to connect to love, to higher consciousness, to something expansive, then we have to learn how to rise above this egoistic consciousness that is constantly limiting my perception and keeping me locked within this kind of a cage. And it's a cage. It's written in Kabbalah that it's our greatest hater, our ego. And we think somebody else is our problem. But the truth is, our own internal mechanism that keeps us limited within our five senses is our enemy, so to speak. And we have to learn how to become free of that, how to become free of this limiting inner mechanism. And it sounds like maybe difficult, but it's really what we're meant to do. We're meant to become free. We're meant to be limitless, eternal, expansive beings that are full of light and love. And that's our purpose.
Yeah.
But we were created in the opposite state so that we could consciously achieve that goodness and actually appreciate it and perceive it and really accept it. Because otherwise, you can't know something without its opposite.
Right. Exactly.
So we need the darkness so that we can experience the light.
And I think that appreciating that is very important, that we need to appreciate this greatness, this bigness around us. What happens when we divide things into good and evil, I think, when we divide things into devils and demons and angels, right? Is that we tend to go outside ourselves. We tend to say, oh, the devil made me do it, that kind of thing. When really, I always loved, I know I'm bringing this up a lot, but I always loved the Haudenosaunee concept of the good mind and the quick mind. So they talk about, it is about where your mind is, what your connection is to the creator. So the good mind, is always looking at that connection, always going inside. It's slow to get angry. It's slow to take action. It's quick to forgive. That's the simplistic explanation of it. But of course, there's much more there, where of course the quick mind is quick to get angry, quick to take action, and slow to forgive. So those are things that idea, I think, is really very much, to me, that very much aligns with teachings in Kabbalah.
Yes, exactly, because the quick mind is basically your automatic behavior. It's your inner mechanism that is automatically reacting to things from that egoistic mechanism within you, where you're not consciously choosing how to respond to life rather than react. And I think, and this is the more practical part of how do we change? How do we become free of our ego? This is what I was saying about the way to connect to spirit and to nature is through other people, because we have to learn how to love. We have to learn how to be like nature, like spirit, and we have to learn how to treat other people in that loving way. And so our relationships are really the arena where we get to practice rising above that egoistic mechanism. And that is the slowing down that you were describing, slowing down and learning how to love above our ego.
Right.
And then in relationships, we have so many opportunities to do that, where we're triggered, where we're feeling angry and we're blaming somebody else. That's exactly our nature kind of showing up and telling us, this is where you have work to do. This is where you get an opportunity to transmute and turn yourself around from thinking that somebody else is to blame, and trying to get the love that you think you deserve and get what you think you deserve, to like really turning around 108 degrees that attitude to where the other person needs my compassion. Where does the other person need my sensitivity? Where am I missing their needs? Where am I judging them unfairly? Like, we have to take our criticisms and our blame and our anger and our hatred and turn it around into love. And when we can do that in our lives, we can gradually become closer to that quality of nature, which is all loving, all giving, all encompassing, and grow spiritually.
Exactly. I exactly see that as our biggest problem right now, is the way we communicate.
Yes.
That we are choosing, unfortunately, to disconnect, to condemn, to blame, to rather than try to understand why the other person is hurting, because that is real compassion. If you can see that when somebody is angry or upset or thinks differently than you think, and they're angry and upset and very emotional about it, the same amount of emotion that you are bringing to whatever position you are holding, I love the way you said that you have to turn it around and say, well, where can I have compassion and see that this person is just as fearful as I am, is just as angry as I am, feels just as left out. That's a big thing that people talk about. They don't feel included. And I had a young friend of mine bring up to me the other day that one of the problems is that we're saying we want to include everybody, but at the same time, we're cutting out people. We're saying, oh, if you don't believe the way I believe, you're not included in my group. And the idea of inclusion is to make the group bigger and bigger and bigger until we do see everything as one.
Yes, that's so true. I see it everywhere now. Here in my country, this is really crazy. You know, people are so divided, and it's the discourse. It's all about finding the blame on the other side. It's all about pointing the finger, and people are really childish about it. They're saying things like, "Well, it's okay that I am being hateful because look at what they were doing and they were saying," and it's. I really see that, you know, we have to evolve. We simply need to evolve. We have to become more conscious human beings that understand our psychology and our nature and begin to see things from a bigger picture view, where we'll finally be able to escape that cage of the ego that keeps us bogged down in all of this fighting. Because if you really think about it, you know, our ego, it wants to win the battle. It wants to control. It wants to be the winner of the battle. And then there's a good word for it. I'm not finding it, but it wants to basically destroy the opponent.
Right.
But we're living in a world where we're all connected and we have nowhere to run to from each other. And nobody can actually win. I mean, even if you look at left and right in politics, you know, we can not succeed if we try and like overpower the other side. It's just not sustainable anymore. We have to find a higher way to make opposites connect without trying to destroy each other. And this is really like the crux of human evolution, where we're standing right now, where division is becoming so extreme that if you have eyes to see, you can see that it's not going in the right direction. It's not going in a good direction unless we do something different.
Exactly.
And I think that different is learning from nature, from a higher wisdom about connection.
I totally agree. And I think you're totally supported in that by many people now, certainly by Native America, I mean, and by indigenous people all over that are speaking out about that need to reconnect in nature's way, not in the ego way. So beautiful. Well, I think that is a beautiful place to end our time together. It's been an absolute pleasure. One more time with your where to connect with you, and of course, you know, where to connect with your brilliant and your beautiful. I know you have a wonderful course coming up too. So please, if you could mention that course today, that would be great.
Thank you, Maddie. Yes, so there is a course coming up. There's going to be a free course called Enlightened, all about bringing that light into your life, and learning all about that bigger picture of who we are, and bringing the wisdom of connection into all areas of your life, with yourself, in your relationships, and with spirit. And you can, of course, sign up for that through my website, choosingtoconnect.com. Sign up to my list, and I'll send you all the info. And I really want to wish all of us to experience connection very soon. I know, our world needs it so much. There's so much loneliness and darkness, and I really want us all to feel that the light wants to enter our hearts. And we just need to open up to it and desire it and ask for it, and it will happen.
Beautiful. Beautiful final thought. So thank you everybody for listening. Again, you can find me at Maddie, Maddi, at womensoneness.com. You can find my website at womensoneness.com. You can find us on Facebook at the Women's Oneness Project. So please, please, please get in touch. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Stay connected. Find the light. Thanks again, Tal. A pleasure, a true joy.
Thank you, Maddie.
Okay, this week's poem, very recent, just from a week ago. It is joy that gives us light. It is joy that makes us whole. It is joy that opens windows to the body and the soul. It is joy in all we do. It is joy in every word that takes away the sadness brought by those who are absurd. This absurdity is all the rage, how aptly named and true. The absurdness of us causing pain is all we ever knew. When leaving now the crooked way of seeing only out, then you will find a better now, and you will have no doubt. Met with the ones of smaller minds and smaller hearts as well. Meet with the ones who truly know and never cease to tell. For if you cannot handle here the truth that nature shows, then you will be abandoned here as all of nature grows. The loving touch of nature's hand is where your future lives. And if you do not heed her call, there's nothing left to give. Her call is open, wild, and free, in life, in love, in truth. She speaks of love and shows it through the blessings of our youth. For she is she who's writ the words, and she brings all love near. So try your best or do your worst, her voice is ever clear. So you can see the beauty here and sing her song aloud. Throughout the world, from earth to sky, this song floats on a cloud. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear it every day. The way of truth, the wisdom ones that brought us to this play. For play reveals illusion's light that lives inside each heart. And play we will with sheer delight until we've done our part, to bring about the place where we are wise and true and free. It is this place that you see now. It is your place to be. Thank you for joining us. Have a beautiful, wonderful, grateful week. I'll see you soon.
Thank you for joining us for Home Improvement for the Soul. If you'd like more information, please go to womensoneness.com or MaddieCheers.com. That's womensoneness.com or MaddieCheers.com. See you on the next episode.